Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Caitlin. I'm a child and youth worker and I created this space to chat about all things mental health. Today we have a bit of a heavy topic, but I think it's very important that we get this information out there for everybody to know, because at one point in time we could all run into someone who has mental health struggles within our family, our friend circle, whatever it may be. And things can happen and you panic and you don't know what to do. So if you ever need to take a moment away, pause the video, that is completely fine. I encourage you to do so if you need to. So we are going to be talking about self-harm and suicide, and I think this is a taboo topic, and I really want to kind of break that. I don't want people to be afraid to talk about it, because there's a reason why you're feeling the way that you're feeling, and you're never going to heal unless we talk about it. So that being said, if you are someone who is struggling, I encourage you to either share this video with someone you know and trust that you could go to in a time of need or when you're struggling, or just pass on some tips as well to the people in your close circle, because they may not know how to talk to you in that time, or like it's a lot for them to take on as well. So yeah, I just want to preface this with that, and let's get into it. We're going to talk about safety planning around when someone is struggling with their mental health, with self-harm and suicide. Now, there is a few different steps that I like to take. First and foremost, you have to assess the situation. Is this an immediate emergency, or can you work through it to create the safety plan? Of course, 100%, if there is no agreement to making a safety plan with you, then personally, I've worked in the field, so I would call emergency services to assist you getting them to a hospital. If they are agreeable to not making a safety plan, but going to a crisis center or talking to someone where they can get help, that's also another option. And if you have the means to drive them there, that would be a great option. But in this case, we are trying to make a safety plan. If everything, you both are in agreement that this is what you can do to remain safe, then that's wonderful. But the key is you both have to agree. So that being said, now that you've established that you're both agreeable to making the safety plan, what are you going to do next? You're going to find out what is going on. You can talk to them normally, but you also want to be upfront and honest, and not kind of shy and taken back and not ask the right questions. Questions that when I first started in the field, I was like, that seems very bold of someone to do. I was nervous to do it because I didn't want them to like come back at me and be like, well, no, I'm not thinking that. But it's more about their safety than it is about me or how I'm feeling in that moment. It's more than that. So I like to ask, what are you like, how are you feeling, what is going on? And then straight up, like, are you planning on hurting yourself? Are you planning to kill yourself? If those answers are yes, you want to know if there's a plan. Do you have a plan on how you're going to hurt yourself, how you're going to kill yourself? If they say yes, then you need to go into that. What is your plan? How are you going to do this? And then you're going to ask, now that you know how they're going to do it, do you plan on executing this? So all of those are very important, and they're not going to come out boom, boom, boom. You'll probably have a conversation in the midst of asking all of those questions. Our main goal right now is to keep this person safe. So now that they've laid it all on the table, we want to know, how long do you think that you could go before harming yourself or going to try to kill yourself? How long do you think you can go? Can you go 1 hour? And we're going to make a plan to help you get through this hour. Can you go 24 hours? and you talk amongst yourselves. You kind of pick a time frame that would work for you, a week, a few hours. Like, it varies depending on the situation. Excuse me. So yeah, establish a time. And then from there, we're going to go through some coping strategies. Now, when you have thoughts and feelings of hurting yourself, or even killing yourself, there is a very deeper issue that that person needs to address. And maybe they're not ready to address it. Maybe they don't want to address it with you, or they don't want to address it with anybody. But they will have to address that in order to move on. And our goal in making a safety plan is not to address all those big traumas that they're holding on to help them heal. That's not our goal. Our goal is to distract. That coping skills are very good for distracting your mind and thinking about other things to get you safe for that amount of time. Things like going for walks, swimming, exercise, any fidget things, coloring, journaling, all of those things, whatever you do. I know I'm trying to come up with a list off the fly. I'm not good on the fly. I should have written some down, but I do have, my goal is to get as many coping strategies in reels or shorts so that people can come and refer to them. You can write them down, put them in your toolbox for cases like this, or if you're just struggling one day and you just need some extra coping tools. Having a bath, having a shower, things like that. Now, one thing I do want to mention, when someone is going through a hard time, remind them to eat, drink water, and take their medication if they are on any medication. Sometimes we get lost in our thoughts, we get lost in our brains, and this takes over. It takes over everything. So maybe they haven't eaten, and just after they eat, they might actually feel better. Like, their basic needs aren't being met at this point, so having them met will make you feel a little bit better. It's not, again, going to cure you, but it's going to help you be in a little bit of a better place. Setting alarms on phones. So if they're going maybe longer periods of time, setting your alarm on your phone to remember to take your medication. That was a really popular one because sometimes, I forget to take my medication. So I have an alarm on my phone because if I don't, I will forget. So those are just some very basic things to go through to help keep them safe for a short period of time. Now, I also like to have a list. Now, sometimes this was really hard, so we would end up texting each other back and forth, kind of like what the coping skills were, and then I like to give them numbers that they can call. In my job, unfortunately, not unfortunately, because I need a life as well, but we were only available until 10 p.m. at night. So anything past that, if they needed access to help, they needed to reach out externally. So having those numbers, crisis numbers, I know now they have like chats online or texting app or texting numbers that you can text. And it's free to reach out when you're in crisis. Always, of course, 911, if they ever feel like they can't keep their commitment to you in that time frame, that they have these things that they can access for if they do go into another crisis, that spiral of self-harm or wanting to kill themselves. So that is what I do. If you do have paper, you can both sign it or you can come to a verbal agreement as well, but making sure that they have access to those numbers readily available for when they need them is super helpful. I'm going to make a document as well, just having these key points on like what to do on this safety plan, and then I'm going to create some numbers as well. I actually have a few written down of services here in London, Ontario for people that they can reach out to. So that is how you make a safety plan. I want you to remember, if you were the person helping and assisting with making the safety plan, to make sure you take care of yourself too. Taking on someone else's trauma can be trauma in itself to you, because you're trying to help them and you just want them to be safe. So make sure you're taking care of you and your mental health as well. Use your coping strategies. Do something that's fun. Any hobbies that you have, those are also good coping strategies to distract someone longer term. If they have any like knitting, or I don't want to say sewing, I don't sew, but knitting, sewing, anything like to do with your hands, painting. They had those things where you had like dots on them that you could like make a picture. So I'm sure that there's 1,000 things that we could do for coping mechanisms and coping skills. But that's all I can think of on the fly. So yeah, I hope this helps you if you are struggling with mental health, or if you know someone struggling with mental health, just kind of things to do when they are struggling and to support them. Of course, we want to be sincere when we're talking to them, but we do want to ask those hard questions. I know it's going to seem weird and it's going to seem really hard to do, because you never want to have to think about someone wanting to take their own life. That is a concept that like we don't want to believe, that someone can feel that way. But it is out there. Life is tough in the moment, and escaping reality is better than being here sometimes, even though in reality it's not, but that is their feelings and that's how they are coping. So again, thank you for being here and listening to this. I really hope it helped. If it did, I would appreciate it if you could subscribe, like, comment. Any tips in the comments also would be super helpful. I'm open to expanding my knowledge and just getting all this information out to the people that it needs to get to. And that is all for today. I will be back with some more soon. Bye.